Hey all, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. This is the final video of the whole playthrough, y'all, and we're going to end things on a pretty epic note. The secret bosses are coming, and full disclosure, I've never really done these myself. Yes, I'm a coward when it comes to challenging video games, but Spar thankfully has taken up the mantle, and indeed the Keyblade, and will show us how to play a video game or two. Oh god, it's scary.
First up here we have the Phantom, basically the only secret boss that was in the original Japanese version, as I mentioned last time. This fight is bad. It's really bad. Like I said, I didn't include it in the Guiding Key Marathon when I showed off the secret bosses there, because it's just really, really boring, but I thought the playthrough itself would be incomplete if I didn't do it here, so we're doing it. So basically the point of this fight is that he casts Doom on our party members, starting with Peter Pan, then whoever you have in the second slot, and then finally on Sora.
Right. And
if you don't cast Stop on the clock over here, I think Stop lasts for a minute on the clock no matter what, they will die, and they cannot be revived if they die through Doom. So you've got to keep an eye on that. And also the orb that is changing color here corresponds to the three types of magic for fire, blizzard, and thunder, and the white orb is for physical attacks, and that's how you do damage to him, and he's only able to be hit when the orb is visible and on a certain color. So the fight's just really fucking slow, and it's just really fucking boring, and I end up doing this fight without taking a single hit, because the only threatening attack is that little laser orb that he does there, which you can pretty easily block, or you can just kind of run around the edge of the building to completely avoid, or you can cast a Roga on yourself. So really, this is just one of the easiest boss fights in the game, in all honesty, as long as you know what you're doing.
Well, first of all, I like his Final Mix recolor. The white and black are pretty cool. He's a very ethereal kind of design, being a Phantom. I guess he would be... Wait, no, he's not a pure blood, because I think he has the emblem on the back. Yeah, I just saw it there.
Yes, he does. The wiki says that this is one of the Heartless that came out from the portal in Hollow Bastion when it was completed.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any proof of that. I guess it makes sense, since that's actually when this boss appears at that point in the game. So, you know, I guess it's true.
What must the people of London, looking up at their night sky, having nipped out for a bit of fresh air before bed, think when they see an anime boy fighting a bedsheet?
Along with the dog and literally Peter Pan.
No, it's okay, folks. It's just pigeons. Really aggressive pigeons.
So the really annoying thing about this fight is that you only have 3 quick select slots for your magic. I like to keep Stop on one of them so I can always get back to the clock as quick as I can to make sure that's active. And I usually keep it on Thunder for one of the others and Cure just if it's necessary. And I just do the normal menuing if I have to use Fire or Blizzard, because those are like higher up in the magic menu. Goofy here is set up to be completely on MP Gift, so that he is constantly feeding Sora MP, as you see right there. And Peter Pan has all of his abilities removed so that he is never using MP, because no one else's damage really matters in this fight. It's very unfortunate when they get attacks in, when the Phantom is weak to physical hits, because they do so much less than Sora.
Yeah, I can see why that would be a problem. Sorry, the idea of you taking all of Peter's possessions and just leaving him defenseless during a fight with, like, a demon, essentially, is so funny to me.
I think, actually, one of the strategies that you can use for this fight is to just let Peter Pan die to the Doom, so that he doesn't get in the way and try to attack the Phantom, like, during the physical phase.
Wow. See, this is where Captain Hook was going wrong. If only he cast Doom. If only the animators thought to include that in the movie.
So the nice thing about keeping him around, though, is that he can hold items, and that's just more free MP for you and Goofy, since Goofy's using up all of his.
You're very good at timing these attacks, mate. I would definitely eat shit more than once.
Did take me a couple tries to get the no-hit take on this one. So I won't say this was my first attempt. Actually, I think I did do that on my first attempt because it was a practice run. And then when I actually got into recording, it took me a couple tries.
It's always the fucking way, I swear to God. And then, like, after hours and hours, you finally get a decent take. It's one with a few scuffs in it. Like, I don't know, you bumped into a wall for a fraction of a second and it made a noise that you didn't want to be in there.
Yeah, I definitely know all of that feeling that you just talked about.
Yeah, me, Flame, you. God, it is a curse.
It really makes you notice all of the extremely minor imperfections that a game has, which are more on player error than anything else.
Indeed,
when you try to record something like that.
Lordy Lord. I've just noticed there are X's on the building.
Is that just the Roman numerals for the clock? Because I didn't get a good look.
I don't know. Maybe this is one of Xehanort's many backups. Ah, yes. I will become Big Ben itself. And then, like, I don't know, fucking Chicken Little walks in, and he's voiced by Zach Braff, and Zach Braff, Chicken Little, says, you know Big Ben's the bell and not the tower, right?
Oh, I see the X's you were talking about now, yeah.
I don't know if they're there in real life. I haven't bothered to look at the clock tower in a while.
Are you anywhere near London?
No, I live in the East Midlands, and London is in the south.
Phantom is now dead, and that's about it. He gives you the final upgrade to stop. It doesn't really matter which level of stop you come into this fight with, because the upgrades don't actually affect the duration of the stop magic, only the area of effect.
Ah, okay.
And so that's basically all I want to talk about with Phantom, and I hope to God I never see it again. Next up, we have Kurt Zisa, which is obviously an Agrabah. Gotta come to Aladdin's house and talk to the carpet. If you try to go to the Cave of Wonders, you'll just kind of bypass this guy. Like, he just kind of doesn't bother you if you're on that trip.
I guess he just really hates carpet, otherwise, you know, why would he attack right there?
So this guy starts off actually by sealing all of our magic, but you can get a cast of Arrow in, or if you want to, summoning Tinkerbell is also an option.
Okay.
So you can have that active before he actually seals everything off. So right now we can only do physical attacks, so we have to destroy those orbs that he's holding in his hands. And once both of those are down, we can actually fight him properly. This is another one of those fights that's more annoying than good, if I really had to say. He kind of just flails around a bit too much, you know, with 4 arms, I guess 6 arms actually, now that I'm looking at it. That's just kind of a given, really.
Alright, looking at the trivia here, Kurt Zisa, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know this, is named after Kurt Zisa of Medford, New York, who won Square's Kingdom Hearts Name in Game contest held 2 months prior to the game's American release.
I know exactly what page you got that from, because that is word for word the sentence that I have in my notes. And so now the phase of the boss fight that he's on is he's actually only vulnerable to magic, although attacking him normally does release some MP orbs, as you can see. If you can get him where he's standing still, gravity does a lot to him, but otherwise just stick with thunder, because that will, you know, do plenty, and will always hit as long as you're locked onto the enemy and they're not invincible.
Now, I did say I haven't fought the secret bosses, but I have played 350 over 2 days, and in one of the phases of the Shion fight, she takes on a form that looks strikingly similar to Kurt Zisa with the multiple arms and the swords and whatnot.
I think I remember reading about that during, like, my writing of notes. It's been so long since I played Days, I honestly can't remember what it looks like specifically, but I think the Shion boss fight is probably the peak of that game, if I had to be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, that finale is one of Kingdom Hearts' best, and, you know, given what I've said about Days, you may not believe me when I say that, but trust me, it's true.
Honestly, just really good, even if it does have the "who will I eat ice cream with" line, which is less cringy in the actual context than it is, you know, out of context. So yeah, this is pretty much just the rest of the boss fight now. That's about it.
Oh, Spa.
He does that spinning move a lot, which of course you can't hurt him doing during, but It's also pretty easy to avoid if you're, like, somewhat decent with dodge roll timing, which I was pretty good with back there. Fortunately, we get a Ragnarok to finish it off, and our reward is an increased AP, which you probably don't really need at this point in the game.
Dude, you're approaching God in terms of power right now. What's more AP gonna do?
I think I fought Phantom and Kurt Zisa at like level 70, similar to what I did for the Hades Cup.
Okay.
The rest of the bosses will all be done at level 100, because they're tougher.
Oh boy, yeah, I can imagine.
Our other reward that we get here is actually Zantetsuken, which is a combo finisher that I think can instantly kill some weaker enemies.
Huh.
If I recall correctly, and otherwise just does a ton of damage. So pretty good to have that. But next up we have the Ice Titan, which sucks. This is probably one of my least favorite fights in the entire series, and I am not exaggerating. This fight is just a pain in the fucking ass.
He loves to spam projectiles. Like, in every fight I've seen, it takes people just a while to get to grips with it.
The really annoying thing about it is usually if you use Eroga, Eroga has a built-in property that can automatically reflect projectiles, but for this guy specifically, if you cast any level of arrow, the icicles will become much larger and will actually pierce any arrow spell. So that's not a good idea.
Ah, I see. Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on the Ice Titan.
So pretty much what you have to do is using either guard or just your normal attacks if you're on level 1 and don't have guard, which is a terrifying thing to think about, actually. You have to reflect the little icicles back at him. He'll get stunned for a while, and then you run up and whack him in the face for a while. And then it just continues like this, and he gets progressively more attacks as he goes along. You could kind of try to hit him like I do here with gravity or fire. The problem is you kind of have to get closer to him for those attacks to really be close enough to hit. But that also puts you in range of his attacks. And so it just doesn't end up working out very well. Like you saw there, the fire didn't actually even reach to where his head is at, so it didn't do anything.
It doesn't help like the camera is so pulled close to Sora right here, so you could accidentally run into some of those icebergs that he sent out.
Yeah, the camera and just the field in general, just the Colosseum, are really not great for this fight. Also, every time you knock him down with reflecting the icicles, he stays stunned for less and less time, which you're going to want more time to keep hitting him because the fight gets harder. It's just going to keep compounding on itself to become a more difficult fight as you keep going, and honestly, it's just a mess. Your reward for this fight, though, as we'll see, is the Diamond Dust Keyblade, which has the highest magic increase of any Keyblade in the game at plus 3 MP. So if you want to focus on magic, that's definitely the one to go for. I think Diamond Dust was actually included first in Re-Chain of Memories, because that included all of the Final Mix stuff before we actually got the re-releases for KH1 Final Mix. Of course, you guys did not get Re-Chain of Memories until the collections anyway, so that doesn't really matter for you.
Germany got it. I didn't.
Which is just weird, really. That's so random.
It is bizarre.
Again, this is basically the rest of the boss fight. I equipped a lot of blizzard resistance equipment and stuff, because obviously I'm fighting the Ice Titan, I want to be resistant to ice. So, I mean, yeah, this is pretty much it. It's just reflecting the stuff, go up and hit him a couple times, he stops being stunned. Ragnarok is not terrible, but I feel like maybe just normal attacks did a bit more damage to him there. Fortunately, I have a bunch of elixirs so I can keep my HP and MP up as much as I need to. If I haven't talked about it, boy, this fight sucks. It's just... I keep going on about it, but it's just such a pretty terrible design. I can't think of anyone that I've ever spoken to that actually liked this boss fight in any way.
I wonder how it goes on, like, speedruns and whatnot, because it seems pretty situational.
I think with speedruns, as long as they've practiced, they know like the right distance to hit more often with the Firaga and Graviga spells, so they can get more of those. And also, they're better at timing the reflex with the icicles, especially if you can do it with normal attacks, because you can keep a combo going, which will allow you to reflect more of them at a time, rather than guard, which only lasts a certain amount of time.
God, this is just like chaos.
It really is, and especially this one attack that just freezes you, which of course means you're going to get hit by the next thing he does too. Because I have all of that resistance, I'm not taking a lot of damage per attack, I'm just getting hit by a lot of attacks.
If you were even like a few levels below, I can't even imagine the difference that would make.
This fight on level 1 is like just that much worse because you don't even have guard. Because guard is a level up ability in this game, so you don't have it on the level 1 run. It's honestly something special to watch a level 1 run of this boss fight. I kind of recommend it for anyone that hasn't seen it before.
It's okay, Spar, it's done. We don't have to pad for time anymore.
Fortunately, the next 2 boss fights have more to talk about and are just way more interesting and fun and well-designed and just really cool, so hopefully those will be better for commentary as well.
Oh no!
I love this though. The perspective makes it look like he's normal size, but he's tiny.
Yo. Almost stomped on him with his fucking kicks.
And he just runs away back to, I guess, the underworld? Don't know why the Colosseum has a portal to the underworld, but whatever.
Hades, contracts, etc.
I don't know why I edit it like that, where I just fade out in the vestibule. That was really weird, even coming from the guy that edited it.
That was just Spar falling asleep, that wasn't the game.
And now we have the Platinum match. I don't know why these 2 matches, the Gold and Platinum matches, you just don't have Donald and Goofy with you. In this case, I think it's a good thing that you don't have them, because they would just get in the way. I think with Ice Titan it would definitely be beneficial, but... oh yes, it is time for Sephiroth.
I have not beaten Sephiroth in either game. I'm not ashamed of that. He is just a hard fight, and I do not have the reflexes for it.
He's way easier in KH2, which I think has a lot to do with KH2 being an easier game all around, and the fight is just designed in a way that makes it easier. But here he's actually really tough, and I think for a long time I couldn't defeat him above beginner difficulty. So this was actually one of my first times beating him on Proud Mode, so yay me.
Good for you, mate, good for you. I guess before we get into the strategies and whatnot, how do you feel about Sephiroth's exclusion in Kingdom Hearts 3? Because I know there's a lot of people who look to Kingdom Hearts, especially, big, well, not YouTubers, but personalities out there, like Maximilian Dune, who are like, when Kingdom Hearts stopped putting Sephiroth in, that's kind of when I stopped, paying attention, or I lost interest and whatnot. So, do you feel the lack of Sephiroth hurt 3 at all?
Absolutely. I feel like the lack of Final Fantasy in general hurt 3, even if there was a little bit in the Remind story and the Limit Cut storyline. I think just, especially since we saw Radiant Garden a lot in KH3 and saw nothing of any of the Final Fantasy characters, it just really stuck out to me that they were just not involved in anything that was going on. Yeah, I hate that Sephiroth and any of the other Final Fantasy characters were not included, especially because we saw at the end of KH2, or at the end of the Sephiroth fight in KH2, that Cloud and Sephiroth disappeared, and we saw that they were going to finish their fight, and then that story just hasn't continued since then. It would feel very odd if that just kind of gets dropped and never comes back again in the series.
Well, who knows? Maybe they went to Quadratum. We'll just find them in a Starbucks somewhere, chilling before the big fight. But yeah, I agree. Sephiroth is a big part of the series, like, in terms of iconography and whatnot. And he's just, like, a fun-looking fight in general. He is the ultimate test of your skills. The ultimate swordsman versus the Keyblade Master, essentially. So, you know, I'm not as harsh on KH3 as others have been. I like KH3 a lot. It's in my top 3, especially with, you know, the enhancements that Remind brought to the table. But, yeah, I hope they bring him and Cloud back in future games. Alright, now on to the nitty-gritty, Spur.
Sephiroth has a retaliation that you've probably seen him do a bunch of times, where he summons those flame pillars, and he can also just kind of teleport around. I think actually the best way to handle this fight is by actually having some air combo plus, because you can actually get like 5 hits on him before he'll retaliate. I think he retaliates as soon as you do a combo finisher. So you can do like a longer combo and keep getting him, hitting him to get a bit more damage.
Okay.
Here is his ultimate attack, which I think is just Meteor. You kind of just run into this wall and try to dodge roll at the right time, or be me and just get hit by it.
Okay, fair enough, you know. Who hasn't taken a Spirit Bomb to the face?
And we're in the final phase of the fight now. Here's the Heartless Angel attack, which puts you at 1 HP and 0 MP. Fortunately, you can knock him out of it, or if you're too far away like I was there, just use an elixir, because he's probably not going to hit you in time as long as you know the attack is coming.
Yeah, knocking him out of Heartless Angel is something I remember a lot from watching people do the fight too.
I don't think I actually meant to use Strike Raid right here. I only have it equipped, and I think this is actually the first time I've shown it off in the playthrough. I only have it equipped here because you are invincible during the entirety of the limit. So it's just really nice to have. I think the first time that I beat Sephiroth, I actually just kind of abused Strike Raid in this final phase for the invincibility, because I couldn't fight him normally at the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it was this attack, because I didn't know that you could just spam guard and kind of win, or use Leaf Bracer at the time, that I just kind of used a lot of Strike Raid and ended up winning. Sephiroth awards you 10,000 XP, which, again, you probably don't need at this point.
Indeed. Ah, such useless EXP. Where's Cloud? Where's my Cloud?
Something I did not actually know for a long time is there is actually a bonus cutscene that you get if you walk out of the vestibule of the Colosseum. What I always used to do, I guess on the original PS2 version, is I would just fight Sephiroth and then go load another save file or something. Mm-hmm. So I never knew about the bonus scene, but I know about it now, and so we're going to see it here.
Okay, I was going to say, if you were building up to that and then didn't include it, I would have been a little bit miffed.
We get to see Cloud finally catching up with the one he's been looking for, which the game might make you think was Aerith, if you don't know any better, but no, he was looking for Sephiroth the whole time.
I've come to finish the job, Aerith. You've had it too good for too long. Ah, Cloud, wearing Vincent's clothes, I see.
Huh, yeah. I guess Sephiroth probably would notice that, assuming any of the events of FF7 are actually canon to this world. Because they're probably not.
No. So Sephiroth's just like pure evil. Or pure darkness in this world. You know, there was no Genova, there was no soldier and whatnot.
In KH2, Sephiroth says he is the dark part of Cloud's heart. Just the darkness of Cloud made manifest, or something like that. Which doesn't really make sense, but then when you start getting into darkness and stuff in Kingdom Hearts, things just kind of are what they are without really needing an explanation. I love this scene. I don't think it's quite as cool as the one in KH2, but this one is really cool because of the, like, electric auras and stuff, which was sort of around the time when this first came out, when Dragon Ball Z was still really big in, like, the Western countries.
Had Advent Children come out at that point?
I don't think so. I think Advent Children may have been, like, immediately before this, before KH1, or very shortly after. Obviously, we see, like, the Advent Children costumes in 2, so...
Huh. Oh, I know who's coming up now. It took me a second, actually.
Yes, last up on the docket is probably the hardest of all of these fights, I would actually say. It kind of varies, depending on what kind of setup you have. We have the Unknown. That's his listing in Jiminy's journal. He is kind of creepy. One thing I want to point out about this little intro cutscene is that it has voices in the HD collections. In the original Final Mix, these voice lines from Sora and company did not have any voiceover. And so, of course, to add voices on to all of these, considering all of the voice actors have aged and sound different now, all of the voice lines from Sora and everyone are actually reused from other points in the game. And you could actually pick out, like, what scenes they're from if you remember properly.
So this is just like Zamdis coming to check up on Sora's progress, I guess.
Yeah, because remember, Roxas has already manifested at this point. And so Xemnas has found him, and we see that scene in 2 where he's like, I've been to see him, he looks a lot like you, and that kind of stuff. This scene, that particular bit with the electric struggle attack, whatever, was in Rechain of Memories, or when you see the memories in KH2. I think, even in the English version of KH2, I think that was there, and that caught everyone off guard if they didn't know about this stuff in Final Mix. So,
right.
Yeah, you get to see a bit of that early if you only played the Western release of the original KH2 to see that.
I came to test your strength. I wasn't, however, prepared to fight Goofy. He is my mortal enemy. We have clashed for many an aeon.
I like how Beast is just kind of there in that cutscene, by the way, because he has to be in Hollow Bastion, and if you have him in your party, he helps here.
Oh.
So he just kind of standing there doing nothing.
I don't really have any stake in this. Do you need to trust me as well? No, you're excused.
Tinkerbell, obviously just a really good idea here. Fortunately, I have Graviga, which this guy is very weak to. It will actually stun him in place for quite a while. Unfortunately, Donald's gravity does not stun him, and neither does the combo finisher that applies the gravity effect that you can get from, I think, completing one of the Hades Cup challenges,
right,
or something like that. One of the time trials, or things like that. You get like a gravity-based combo finisher. It doesn't really do anything to him, it doesn't stun him, so just stick with normal gravity, summon Tinkerbell, and honestly you'll probably be okay until he does this fucking bullshit, where he locks your commands.
God damn you, Zamdis. Haha, lol, I'm trolling you.
You can, of course, move around, and you could dodge roll and guard, I believe, because that's just on a different button, and still jump, probably, I would assume, as well. Yeah, it's really annoying to try to, like, get out from that, because you can't really react to the menu changing as fast as it does.
So we're coming to the end of just the playthrough in general, mate, and the bonus content. How would you say you feel Kingdom Hearts 1 and Final Mix handles its bonus content?
Regular KH1 doesn't have a lot, even in the English version, it doesn't have too much. Final Mix is actually pretty great for bonus content in terms of, like, you know, just what's there. Like, it's not a huge amount. I think adding, like, the unique Heartless that Final Mix added is pretty cool, even if a lot of them suck, if I'm being quite honest. I think just having more stuff to do is just always a nice thing in an RPG, and it actually hurts me that a lot of RPGs don't have that kind of extra stuff. Like, I'm going to be honest, Xenoblade 1 is my favorite game of all time, specifically Definitive Edition, but there's not really a post-game, aside from going after the super bosses in that one, and you can sort of do that before actually getting to the final boss, so it's not even really that much of a post-game.
Just the idea of fighting someone stronger than Zanza, and then just rocking up to Zanza like, what, this is the person who was giving us all this shit?
I think Zanza tops out at like level 80 or something, and the strongest super boss in Xenoblade 1 is 120. And I've told you about the super bosses in Xenoblade 3, which you can re-challenge up to level 200. So, like, that's an even bigger upgrade.
But yeah, I'm glad this content is here. It's not for me, but you want a little bit of, you know, spice after you're done with the main story of RPGs. Maybe they didn't need that back in the day, kind of generalizing here, but, you know, modern action RPGs, it's nice to keep things going and whatnot.
I feel like the Final Fantasy games have always had something going on as far as, like, extra content. Not much, but they've always had something as far as I know. Because there's, like, the Gilgamesh stuff. I don't know if that's, like, main content or bonus content in any of the Final Fantasy games, so I can't comment on that. But it is a recurring thing that is kind of optional as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
I really like this laser attack that he does because you can usually get counterattack from it just by guarding and pressing attack again. That's how counterattack works. And that really just kind of gets some extra damage on him. You can even just, once you get one guard on him, just spam the attack button, and Sora will keep trying to do counterattack over and over, and it will actually break through his attacks sometimes.
Nice.
Coming up to the end of the fight here, and he's going to do his invincible thing again because he's an asshole and knew that I was going to say that. Fuck.
It's funny how he goes so much harder here, and I know this is like an optional fight, so whatever. But he goes so much harder here than he ever does in Kingdom Hearts 2.
I would say this is like in between his Kingdom Hearts 2 fight and what the Data Xemnas fight in KH3 is. Because if you haven't seen that one, it goes hard. It takes the laser dome from KH2 and makes it a thing that you actually have to deal with in normal gameplay, rather than just a QuickTime event, which is awesome. Also awesome is Xemnas being a badass and just kind of saying, yeah, I'm not going to die here, thank you.
No, I'm sorry, this is Kingdom Hearts 1. I'm all about Kingdom Hearts 2, baby! I'm going to like being in a sequel.
What are you talking about?
I love all of his dialogue because it's so creepy. And not just the effect that's on it, just thinking about the lore of everything that's going on here, and knowing that it's Xemnas, and knowing what comes later, just makes all of this just the coolest, to be honest. I love Kingdom Hearts.
I also love Kingdom Hearts, mate, and it's been a lot of fun doing this playthrough review. I had a great time. I feel we put out a good playthrough, but obviously that's patting myself on the back there. We started this on the 20th anniversary of, you know, the Japanese release, the original release. Apparently, the main playthrough, the story, ended on the American release, which is fucking crazy to me.
All of the delays that we had ended up counting for something, so thank you guys for watching.
But it was like the perfect amount of delays, which just kind of blows my mind. Alright folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for another HFC playthrough. Bye bye.